Without further ado, Brad Carson, the president of the University of Tulsa.
Thanks, Bruce. I want to welcome members of the media here today. We're happy also to be joined by many visitors, including those from our Board of Trustees. Our inestimable chair of the Board of Trustees, Marcia McLeod, I know is here in the back as well. And also, of course, many of our donors, including those from the Golden Hurricane Fund. This is truly a great day for the University of Tulsa. We have a tradition of football here at TU going back more than 120 years. And we proudly hold the mantle as the smallest school with Division I football. Today marks a new chapter in that storied program, led by a proven winner, Coach Kevin Wilson. Coach Wilson brings experience rich with supporting student athletes to excel both in the classroom and on the gridiron. I'm pleased to give my full support to Coach, his lovely wife, Angie, and their children and friends of their children as new members of the TU family. I gladly texted regularly with Coach during this expedited process to assure him that as leader of the University of Tulsa, I expect excellence in everything, including football. And we welcome his brand of leadership, which also is about demanding excellence, to our Golden Hurricane community. As I invite Rick Dixon, Vice President and Director of Athletics, to more formally and with greater length introduce Coach Wilson, I want to thank Rick. Rick, for your exceptional work in reviewing a very rich pool of candidates that have led us to this moment today. Rick, of course, brings a unique perspective to the process of hiring a Division I coach. He's not only an accomplished athletic director, but also a former TU player himself. It was clearly his thoughts centered on the student-athlete experience that helped us make such a wise decision. He has truly succeeded in demonstrating excellence and bringing quality leadership to the University of Tulsa in his selection of Coach Kevin Wilson. So with that, please join me in welcoming Athletic Director Rick Dixon to the stage. Rick.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to take care of some immediate business here and formally welcome our new football family to TU. So I think we have some TU gifts to present, which we do. Santa Claus is somewhere in the house here. Thank you. Whoops, Coach, I don't think this is for you. More? That's good. Full package. Look, if it's been a long little 8-day journey here, and if just for a minute indulge me, I've learned that with age comes the right to ask for unreasonable requests. So if just for a second we could turn off, because this is for this audience, and then you can relay it to others. But just a couple, I think, perspectives I want to give out here, and it's kind of a story that I thought of driving up here. I always ask Brenda to write me some notes. She does, and then looks at me and says, "Why? Because you never use them." And another example today, but it's my little security blanket. So, but I thought of this 8-day journey, and I want to tell it kind of through the lens of two young men that interacting with them and seeing how it impacted them and these things do. So for those of you that think that you ever want to do this, just look at me. No, you don't. You really don't. Any part of it. It's 33, 34 years, whatever it's been. It's never easy. The start of this week was never easy. Everybody in the room, everybody in the TU community, Tulsa community knows the contribution that Philip and Ashley and their family, son and daughter, made, not just to TU, but all of Tulsa. And it's not failure. You know, what happened last week is not about failure. You've heard me say this before here. It's, we all own a piece of this. And I accept my piece of the failures in those things. It's more a matter of this endless run that we all embark on, and it's different times. It's time to pull in fresh legs and fresh energy and hand the baton, and that time will come for me as well. And it makes me think of all this. But so earlier in the week, on that day, and those of you that think, these things are fantasy games, that it's just news, just entertainment. It's not. It's people and their lives, their careers, their families. I mean, there's people in the room today with still uncertainty on that decision that I was part of last week. And I feel that. I feel that every time I've done it throughout a career. And I feel it when I stand in front of, a room full of 120 young men. I did the same thing, for those of you that don't follow it, but I did the same thing 5 days, 6 days, whenever later, with a group of young women in another one of our programs. And every one of those interactions, experiences, leaves an imprint. And so let me get into my story. So early on that first day, after meeting with Philip, and then meeting with the team, the football staff, and it's just not coaches, it's also the people that make these things happen, that a lot of you have no idea even who they are or whatever, but they are integral to these things being at a place like TU. So from equipment managers and trainers and strength coaches and academic people, that they're impacted too, as their careers and lives are, as well as the young people, which at the end of the day, that's why I've always been here, because of them. And when you see this, that, again, to some is just, part of life and sport, but there's a human element to this. And when you're responsible for that, it leaves marks. And so I want you to understand that change of baton that happened last week was not because of failures. It was because it was time to bring fresh energy and fresh legs and leadership, and that baton was passed. When that happens, pain happens, and I feel it. And so I experienced that first day, and I won't name him because I didn't ask permission to do that. But the son of one of those coaches that was let go, and who was an outstanding player here, still part of us, still part of the football program as a graduate assistant, and just watching, the toll those things take. That, when you see just news, well, you don't think of that. Well, I live it, and just trying to comfort and explain, and hold and hug, and do those things. So, and then seeing him this morning, where 8 days later, the healing's begun, and so that's one set of lens and eyes that I experienced and I'm sharing, and then the other one that occurred literally 2 hours ago, or a little later sometime, when early on when this happened, and before I met with the team, grabbed a particular young man and pulled him aside and just said, how does this impact you? How are you feeling? What can I tell you? What can I say? And just uncertainty, because that's what happens for everybody. And said, well, just know that you have the ability not only to be a leader of this program that you're emerging and becoming, but you have the ability to hold the program together. And of course, he responded to that. But then 48 hours later, he had changed his mind and done what young men do all over the country today, explore his options. But I got a call 2 hours ago, and he talked about, said, look, I remember our talk. I remember everything we've talked about. I'm home here with my dad. His dad went through a very tragic, not tragic, but serious, left him in critical condition wreck after our Houston game last week. He's been home with him by his side, and said, I'm down here with my dad. And he said, I'm first want to tell you, I remember our talk, and I been here with my dad. He said, I remember our talk last week. I've been here with my dad. I've waited to see my options. I'm pleased with who you brought to us, And he goes, but I want you to talk to my dad, and handed the phone to his dad, and in critical condition, who told me, he said, 2 years ago we met, and I was with my other son up here, introduced myself to you, and you said, I had not seen a son take a single snap or play, and said that he holding me responsible for his son's well-being. And I looked at him and told him, I said, that's what I do. It's who I am and always have been. And so check that box, that's done. And so whatever condition he's in, he felt it important to tell me. He said, I'm telling you now again, I'm holding you responsible. Handed it back to his son and said, Mr. Rick, I'm coming back out of the portal and back to TU because I know what I have. And that's our quarterback, Braylon Braxton. And so, again, those of us, today's a great day, and we're going to welcome a great leader and family in here. But I want people to understand, what this is about and what it is. And it leads me to my last part of the story is, why are we even here? Why am I here? And most of you know my story, and of course Brenda, the best part of the story. And I remember at the start of the week informing her what was happening, and she looked at me and said, "You're going on your salmon run again," meaning I start way out in the ocean and keep plunging ahead until I climb the last ladder and the last hoop to jump through, and come home with the cargo, and at some point, as I tell her, wither and die, and I'm close and ready. But she quickly transitions to her Brema role, which is what she's known to our 8 grandchildren, and goes out and tells and refreshes them of Grandpa Dookie stories that they never see, and so we wonder why we do this. But it goes back to something. I think back of when we left here in '94. And I couldn't believe when I got to the West Coast, because this is all I knew. This is who I am. This is what I came from, right? And what all of us are, what goes into being a Tulsan and a TU and everything that's part of being part of this community, this city, that we're so different, we're so diverse, we're from so many different avenues and backgrounds, and it takes all of us, and it's always what makes what I call Tulsa special. And I went to the West Coast and Pac-10 at that time, and I just couldn't believe, other than UCLA, because we left a couple imprints on them before I left, and that knew much about it. And it just stunned me, because this was my whole frame of reference, was right here. And then I moved to another country, part of the country, and they don't understand or know Tulsa. And Tulsa's special. That part of it includes all those things I'm talking about, all the things that I'm referencing right now about what makes this place special. And I'm not talking about TU, I'm talking about all of it. TU is a centerpiece of it, always has been, through longer period than any of us in the room, always will be. So it's a centerpiece, it's an economic engine, it's a source of pride. And as you heard Brad say about how we're small and mighty, and people around the country spent more time explaining not only where it was, not in Arizona, but right in the heart of Oklahoma. And, and it's not a 40,000 student urban university. Would be, some people characterize it as the smallest FBS or the 35th largest Class 3A school in the country. But its capability, its bandwidth, and its ability to impact lives and people and communities that don't just stop at our boundaries. That's what is Tulsa special. And so, for me, what those 2 young men represent, both the pain of one, the courage of another, in a time like what happens today, where it's comical, it's sad. What's happening is that we've created this system that all of us have become passionate about, but we've confused it so much and confused so many young people thinking, that this is professional and that's what we've turned it into, and so be it. But at the end of the day, it's really about what unique qualities and attributes that every one of these micro communities have. And this Tulsa special piece for me has always been, no matter where I've been, from my time here till roaming the country, I've always carried Tulsa special with me. And so if you want to know, it wasn't about details, stats. All I have up here is not notes, just the same press release you do. But I'm just telling you, that's why I'm here. That's what we're doing. Everything that's gone into this, the pain, courage, and the excitement that comes along with these things. And I think you need to know that, because at the end of it, it's what defines the Tulsa special piece of what this whole exercise is. So okay, I'm ready for lights, cameras. Now we'll go to the excitement. So thanks for indulging an old guy. Appreciate it. So welcome everyone, and appreciate you joining us. You heard a little bit of my storytelling that told you over the last 8 days what's been going on. I want to thank, as Brad mentioned earlier, from everyone involved, from our chairperson in Marcia McLeod, and of course President Carson, Mike Case, and others that actively on the final steps of this got involved, rescued me out of my Zoom world and interactions and so forth of the first 7 days. And as we fought to get to this point, to get what I said, you see in the release, but the qualities are all the things that we've referenced. This is a special place. It takes special people. That's what's always made this place go, and always will. And somebody that recognizes that for what it is, not what we're not, but for what it is, and those qualities. That's why I was so, with all the hoopla that's been created this year, which is great. It's been fun again at Tulsa, right? That's part of our DNA too, and injecting that. And Brad's been such a big piece of that. And to the people, I think of the staff that even stepped in for me this week that didn't really see me. And thank goodness, because I didn't shave and shower for 8 days until about 2 hours ago. But, people like Sean Fanistel has been here since I left in 1994. And Krista Trester, who, stepped up as the two leads and ran our athletic program these last 8 days. And for everyone that picked up that burden. And for the coaches that are still working with no guarantees and hope. I met with them that first day and said, you got two objectives. Your role is to help all 120 of these young men, guide and support them towards a successful finish this academic semester. And they've done it unselfishly. All those things are what makes this special. And so that's the qualities I was looking for and finding is there's lots of great coaches out there that bring lots of great qualities. But at the end of the day, it's got to be somebody that understands Tulsa special. And so that when I sorted through many capable candidates and brought to our group just a small handful of people that I thought were the best, that had these qualities. They all had different attributes and traits. But where we are today, and the reason we have the person we do, is because he absolutely fits and will absorb and demonstrate and wear proudly the Tulsa special brand. So with that, I'm proud, really, that we've got to this point. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you our new head football coach, sitting to my left here. Coach, are you ready?
Ready.
So welcome to Tulsa.
Oh, good. Good afternoon. Appreciate everyone taking the time to be here. I got some notes I scribbled down the last few minutes before we came over, but being a no huddle guy, I'm used to kind of winging it from the hip, like Rick said, and kind of shooting and doing the best we can. But an honor and privilege to stand here today with some of my family. Excited to be your coach. Excited to represent what I think is an elite school that stands for so many things within this community. A program that has a great tradition, has done real well. Has a chance to, I think, always be competitive and not just be a winning program, but a program that can fight for championships. And in this day and age, with the dynamics of college sport, we're changing conferences. We got a chance to be a strong player in our conference as we move forward. So I'm excited about our leadership and direction to represent our school, our program, and then most importantly, the city of Tulsa. I had a chance, for 9 years living in Oklahoma, to get to know a lot of people up here. A great deal of respect for the people in this part of the region. My wife would tell you of places we've been. If we could go back and live, retire, she'd said, hey, Norman's not a bad place to go. And, of course, Rick said, and both Brad said Tulsa's going to trump that one. So it's great to be here and back in this neck of the woods. We spent a lot of summers at Grand Lake, spent some time at your restaurants in town, Utica Square over there with some dear friends. I know those showers at Southern Hills are the best that ever were in the men's locker room. So know a lot about your great city. A lot of respect for the people of this city, but most importantly, the people of our school that we're representing, and then to me, the young men that we get a chance to coach. I want to say a big thank you to Rick for going through the process and giving us a chance to be considered. I've had a chance now. I've over that 60 mark, but really had 4 jobs since 1990. I was working for Randy Walker for 12 years, for Bob Stoops for 9 years, being a head coach for 6 years in Indiana, and now 6 years at Ohio State with Coach Meyer and Coach Day. So haven't moved around a lot, but along the way I've been at some really strong places. Been at 2 programs, and before that, those first 12 years it was at Miami, Ohio. But if you look at the Northwestern Indiana, Ohio State, Oklahoma, I would always share with guys I've worked at the programs that have the 2 highest winning percentage since World War II, Ohio State and Oklahoma. I've also worked at 2 schools that have the most losses in the history of college football. And I can say we had success at all those places. Took Indiana to back-to-back bowls, had the highest APR ranking, beat our rival 4 years in a row, first-time wins over some teams, did a great job. Did a great job at Northwestern. Last time an academic small school, great academic school like this place, and the last time they shared a Big Ten towels up there. So proud of those places, proud of those stops. But again, I appreciate Rick as he went through and gave us the opportunity. I wasn't necessarily chasing jobs. I thought I had a chance to lead a program and to build a foundation, a program that can stand and one good shot to swing as hard as you can and get a group of people to work together and build something that a university and a community and an alumni base can, most importantly, the players can take a lot of pride in. And was hoping and for that opportunity. Years ago, I would pray, where do I raise my family? What kids do I coach? Well, my youngest daughter's a senior at OU. Got son at at Ohio State that's a sophomore on the team. Got 2 graduates out. We're past what's the elementary schools and what's the junior high schools and all that stuff. So now my wife just said, first time we're making a move, just us 2. And so we're kind of looking forward to that. But I've always prayed, where am I supposed to raise my family, where am I supposed to coach kids? Now it's where I'm supposed to coach kids. If this wasn't meant to be, I think I'd have fumbled around in the interview process. Rick would have found someone else more attractive. I think we're here for a purpose. We're here for a reason. We're excited about that. I was very excited talking with Marcia the other day and her leadership with the board and then with Brad to just get a feel of the school's commitment to want to have athletics have a chance to be a great representative of you, the alumni base, and the people of our community. So excited for his leadership, his support, and also support from 2 great leaders at programs that have challenges. But every program has a challenge. The greatest challenge is to find a group of people that want to work together, and collectively how you work together to give yourself a chance to build something. And because that's what our game is. It's a people sport. It's a team sport. We'll have 200 plus, probably 220 people that touch our players, from nutrition to academics to medical to sports psych to the team doctors to our tutoring to the coaches and the young coaches, the video people, and then most importantly, the players. And how do we get all those people to work together? Because collectively, when people are working together, you got a chance to do something special. So as all schools, there might be some concerns or issues that can make any job challenging, but I see more upside, more bright days, and more opportunity. I'm excited to lead this crowd and to see if we can get some guys to work together as we move forward. I'd like to thank my past coaches, Coach Stoops, Coach Day, Coach Meyer, Coach Bill Hayes. I worked at HBC schools for a couple years at Winston-Salem and North Carolina A&T, so I've got some HBU experience. Dick Crum, my college coach, who's still kicking around. Late Coach Walker that I worked for at Miami. Just some great coaches that touched my life. I'd like to thank my players. Probably got more texts from players. And it's kind of neat when you start, I guess, well, some of us here, as I see, are a little bit older, but as you get old, what's up, Garen? As you get old, you go back and, okay, here's a kid you coached at Miami, Ohio back in the 90s. Matter of fact, you're recruiting their kids now, to tell you the truth. Here's your quarterback at Northwestern. Here's some guys from Oklahoma. Here's some friends from Oklahoma within this community and down in the central part of our state. My players from Indiana. I got really blown up with a lot of those guys. And, of course, shoot the guys at Ohio State. I mean, had to make those calls, too, now. It's my guys. Sorry for my emotion. And then my family. My bride, Angie, my daughter, Marley, her boyfriend. So we got an OU girl here. Don't hold that against her. She's up here scouting right now. I understand it's game 2. Coach Venables got on a recon mission. But got 2 daughters that were leaving back in Columbus, a son on the team, got a son that's playing college golf in Florida, so a family of 5. But those guys have sacrificed a lot. And I'd just like to say I was deciding should I take an opportunity. It was kind of cool for my kids to say, do what's best for you. And I've always thought, hey, God, make sure we're coaching the kids we're supposed to coach. So I am genuinely excited. I apologize for the emotion. If my wife knows, if you know me, I kind of get that way just a smidge on these things because I know the sacrifices have been made. I know the commitment that so many family members and coaches and players have done for me to be standing here. And I can tell you it is an honor to be standing here. We're going to work here these first couple weeks, really just trying to connect with our team here. In this day and age of the portal, we just got to make sure these kids know that we want them. I'm not bringing in players. We can talk about it. We can see what's out there. The grass isn't always greener. Those guys, you got to buyer beware sometimes. These things you better make sure they fit your community, make sure they fit your school. Most importantly for me, make sure they fit our locker room. I'd like to get a chance to know these coaches that we have on our staff, what they're about. I'm not lined up coaches coming in. I tried my darnest. I got your text message, and I got one where Sittler has. He here? Dave didn't come? Yeah, okay. I thought he'd still sneak in. You guys are texting me on what, and I didn't respond. I mean, because I didn't want to talk. I didn't want it out. I wasn't trying to get pay raises or name recognition. If it was meant to be, it was going to be meant to be. So I haven't talked to coaches, like, who wants to come? I want to see what we got, because I think the best way to move forward is to understand what we got. And that's going to be short-term hard as we're into now final exam period, but just trying to work around the academic. We need our kids to finish very, very strong academically. And that's a sign of a good team. I pulled up last night the APR, and last year's #1 academic rating school in the country was Clemson. Number 3 was Bama. Ohio State's number 9 on that list. It's amazing those great football teams, those kids do well in class. And we shared it with the guys. And the value of what it means to get a college education. You're giving your time, your body, your soul to that school when you're practicing. The commitment, the hours that you put your body through and your heart and soul in. Get your education out of it. Make sure that school gets something back for you. Some guys, they just think they're getting their scholarship check, and that's cheap money, and I guess it's money, and sometimes when you're young, it seems like a lot to get a little per diem or whatever this NLI situation is, and those little funds for whatever that goes in our world right now. But at the end of the day, get your education. So we're working really hard to make sure this team finishes strong. It'll show, and not statistical GPA. Statistics are for assistant coaches and losers, justifying what happened. The statistic deal is did you work as hard as you could? And you can look yourself in the mirror. Maybe some of these guys, prior to me being here, and I'm not by no means the answer. I'm just going to be a part of trying to lead a group to figure out how to become a better answer. But the situation with maybe these guys have dug themselves in a ditch, or maybe that GPA is not going to look as nice as I'd like for it to be cosmetically. But I've asked all those guys, can they look in the mirror and say, I busted my tail, that's the best I can do. And with a couple weeks down the stretch, in the marathon race, we're at mile 21, 22, where a lot of people quit. Can we bust our tail down the finish line and wrap it up and do and be the best we can? So I'm excited to see how they finish school. I'm excited to connect with these guys short term. Then we get into a dead recruiting period. My plan in talking with Rick and what Coach Day wanted, what Gene Smith, the athletic director at Ohio State, wanted, is to be a part of as all the bowl preparations I can up there. Be here when we're recruiting. This is a recruiting time. My recruiting right now is the current Tulsa football team and the connection with our staff here, and see the folks that we have and how we have operated and how this thing's going right here with these guys. Then it gets into that dead period, so I'll be working through hopefully an opportunity to play two games and two great opportunities. Again, I'm standing here because of the success of our team, and I think it's my obligation to finish up with that team and give that team a chance to chase the national championship. That being said, though, we'll be working, down here during the recruiting days. So the next couple of weeks when recruiting's live, we'll have some recruiting, but I'm not hitting the road to go find players. I want to see what our players are about. We'll have time with the second signing day, quite honestly, getting to know some of the rosters and talking to the coaches. There's potential with all the super seniors, a lot of guys potentially back. So it looks like mathematically, and I haven't gotten into the numbers, but it doesn't look like there's a lot of space to go get a bunch of guys, unless, unfortunately, some kids would want to leave us. And we're going to work hard to connect and see if they'll stay, and we'll wish them. I understand. If I was them, I would maybe want to look. I understand that. I think if there wouldn't be change, I'd be disappointed with guys looking. But when there's change and there's uncertainty, I think they have the right to give them the psychological comfort that, I've looked at other options. I always say, again, be careful what you ask for, be careful be thankful for what you got. And I'm excited to see what we got and to get to know these guys as we move forward. The plan would be, as we get past that bowl scenario, is to be working full throttle here by the first of the year. Hopefully we'll plan on playing a game January 9th, which would be, I'd like to have the staff in place. Recruiting kicks back up January, I think, 12th or 13th. Our students are back on campus second semester, January 9th. So my goal is to kind of have a staff in place, but short term these next 2 weeks, let's get to know these guys. We can be a little bit around the community, but really we'll get a chance to see you guys when this fall clears up and the Bermuda grass changes colors and we get on the golf course and chase that ball around a little bit and get to see some guys. Get you some practices. But again, just an honor to be here. Very, very grateful, very, very thankful, very, very honored, and excited to go to work. And I apologize for a little bit for the emotion. Apologize for rambling, but I'm excited to rock and roll and get this thing going, okay? Is that good? So what? Yeah, thank you. All right, questions? All right, thank you.
All right. Cade McFarland with the NBC affiliate here in town.
How'd you get the story so fast?
You get lucky sometimes.
That was a serious question.
Get lucky. You mentioned where you've been, Ohio State and Oklahoma, and then also Northwestern and Indiana, and the differences there. It's a challenge everywhere, right? But
No
that
doubt.
blue blood life has to be kind of different. What made this for you now the right challenge?
Great question. And, at the same time, when you say some blue blood challenges, as successful as those programs can be, so everybody says, well, it's easy to recruit to Ohio State. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's easy. Go beat Bama and Georgia and those guys and OU and Texas for guys. I'm going down to Dallas and you're fighting OU and UT and A&M. And so, they're tough jobs and the expectation and all that. So I knew the area and loved the area. 2, I know historically there's been success here. 3, quite honestly, I just felt my work at IU, where we built our program, and our work at Northwestern, where we built a program, and 9 years at Miami, Ohio, kind of fit this environment. And a chance to be a head coach it's few and far. You're very fortunate, very blessed, and I thought if that's the opportunity was given, that's what the good Lord wanted us to do, it would. If I really felt I had one great swing to build, not to prove anything. I think we've proven. And we can look at track records and all, but we showed up at an IU roster that had 17 guys on a team that had Division I offers somewhere else. It was a depleted, poor team. Due to a coach, a great friend of mine that I worked with, that had a 2-year bout with brain cancer. and then an interim coach who couldn't recruit for a couple years. So it was a poor program in a bad situation, and we went tooth and nail, creating as much energy and passion and drive and let's go and let's work. And I'm telling you, my phone is blowing up the most from those Indiana guys, and they know how hard we worked. We talked to the team last night. Working hard's a talent. It's a lost talent in our society, but it is a talent. And also, how to have fun working hard. You got to have a passion about what you're doing. So I'm excited these guys have a passion. There's going to be challenges at this program, but there's phenomenal opportunity. And to me, I saw a place I knew I could live. I saw a team that I thought had a chance to be competitive with tradition. I thought it's an area. I know our population is not overwhelming, but we're in a football area now. And you can go to some 8-man schools and find you a dude once in a while. There was one here a couple years ago, I believe. So, there's some great ball in Oklahoma. We're not far to East Texas and the Metro. And we'll be smart, and we'll look when it's meant to be, this day and age of the portal. But portal, I think we need to be smart. It fits our school. It fits and we don't just look at a guy was a 4-star coming out of high school. Let's talk to their coaches and make sure he's a fit. So I just felt there was a great place to live, a great place to build, and I thought I could show one more time that we could build a program. I think we left the program in great shape. They've had great success since I left. They're starting to fall a little bit, but I think we can build a program that should be strong. And right now, as the college playoffs expand, our champions would be in the playoff. And this team has won championships. Let's see if we can be fortunate enough to compete and lucky enough to back away and be one of those kind of teams. I think in talking to the coaches, I'm excited about the kids. And, like I told them, I'm too old for 4- and 5-year builds. Let's do what we can to be as good as we can right now in rock and roll.
Kelly Hines, Tulsa World. Following up on that, what is that message to the players who are maybe uncertain about whether they want to stay?
One, I would tell them. It's their right, opportunity. I would ask them. They owe me nothing, but it would be nice to have communication. I think when there's no communication and it's quiet, it leads to negativity. That we can at least just talk. And I've got to prove to them. We'll put a staff together, and I'm not going to rush to do that because. I think the rush was maybe to get in front of them to see them. That's why last night we came and went right in to see them. Just want to, my first words were slow down and breathe. Slow down, press pause. But also, I think they have the right to look, but I want to get to know them and see if they can start to believe that they can trust. But it takes time to earn trust. And in the short term, if someone wants, I would tell them to just wish them well, but be careful. But would want everyone to date that I'm aware of, unless there's some off the field or academic issue, would want all the players to be here. They were brought here for a reason. I think I'm here for a reason. And I think it'd be nice to see if we could work together and see what the next couple of years unfold for all of us.
Coach, TJ Eckert with the ABC affiliate here. Welcome to Tulsa.
Thank you.
A couple things I think people want to know most is recruiting locally and then fan engagement. Could you maybe speak on both of those points, the importance of recruiting local kids and then trying to get the community involved? Yeah,
there's some phenomenal programs here, always have been through years. And, I had a chance to know some of those coaches have been around, still been around. And there's really good talent. I think we got to be smart when you're talking scholarship perspective to get the right guys. And sometimes in recruiting, it's not necessarily the recruiting battles you win. It's just making sure you recruit the right guys. We're such a developmental sport. We're such a developmental team that you got to get kids that want to develop. And then we have the resources with weight room, nutrition, teach them how to sleep right and live right to physically develop. So you can have some high-end guys. But I think we need to have a presence within our city. We are the University of Tulsa. We're and I understand there's a bunch of Pokes and a bunch of Sooners in this town, and I respect that. I am well aware of that, and don't fault them for that. Living in Columbus, Ohio, there's within that state there's a lot of. I get that, but at the same time, with fan engagement, I think recruiting our area a little bit helps. I think complementing that with some walk-ons would also help, just with numbers. I think being accessible and open to the coaches that they feel if they want to come visit and spend some time and what you coach and talk a little ball, and that just you have open doors with those coaches and build those relationships. That doesn't mean we're going to get every player. Doesn't mean we're going to like every player. But we need to start in our backyard. We need to start within our state. I think we trickle down, 75 through Muskogee and whatnot, what Krebs, that Italian place down there, right? And wiggle on down that way to East Texas, right? And check those guys out. There's some great ball in that area. So I think, we're regional oriented. Used to, you would go up and maybe hit the Kansas JCs, maybe the transfer portals now that, but I think the bulk of our stuff is finding the right guys and then identifying the right body types and the kids and getting to know them that you think you have kids that want to work and develop. Because, again, to go shoe to shoe with certain schools within the Big 12, the SEC, maybe you're not going to win that battle. But I think you can win some battles if you do it right and develop them right. And that's kind of what we did at Miami. It's kind of what we did at Northwestern. It's for sure what we did at Indiana. And we put a number of guys in the NFL there. It wasn't winning the recruiting battle, but having a commitment to your area, which I believe we will and we have to do. And then it's recruiting the right people. Fan engagement. I know there's some other great teams in the state that everyone likes, but bottom line, we'll be as successful and we'll do all the little tricks of the trade to look marketing. But we got to put a product out there that's fun they want to come see. We need to win games. If you win games, they'll come. Based on there's a lot of kickoff times now, and so you're playing a Thursday night or a Friday night game. If you're a good team, they'll be sitting out there. And so in some ways, it's the product. We're in the entertainment business. And we need to put a product on that's going to be disciplined, it's going to be exciting and score, but also play our program goal number one is to play great defense. And I'm an offensive guy. But we got to play defense, and we got to learn how to do that. We got to learn how to get stops. So, but if we put a product on the field, again, with all respect to all the great other schools within our region, we'll get some fans, and we'll make this place hopping and have a lot of fun out here on those Thursday or Friday, hopefully more Saturdays as we go.
Hi, Coach. Nathan Thompson at Fox 23 here in Tulsa.
Yep.
You talked about owing it to Ohio State to go there and try to win a national championship in the coming weeks. But is there some sort of added benefit maybe if you are able to accomplish that to TU to have a national championship coordinator coming in as far as buzz and excitement?
No, I don't look at it that way. Whatever. It's, in my world, you want to finish. I was recruiting yesterday. We had several phone calls, and I was in a high school. Seeing a kid doing my job. My thing was I just think it's you want to teach your children, you want to teach your players how to finish. And I appreciate the administration in both places giving me a chance to finish and try to do my darndest to be a part of it. I've had a chance to be a part of the BCS, the semifinal, the playoffs 5 times. Still looking for that one game, and so selfishly, I'd like that one game. Of course, we got to get through the 31st first, and that's going to be a tough challenge. But I guess it cosmetically looked good. But to me, I don't know if that's going to influence a recruit that much. I guess I can show them a cool ring down the road. But, really, I just want to show them what we're going to do for them here and the education opportunity and how we're going to develop them and the brotherhood and the family that we're going to have playing our game. And it's kind of neat. Our sport's different. I heard a coach years ago, great coach, but our sport, and I showed it to guys last night, we got big guys and little guys, white guys and black guys, rich guys, poor guys, rappers, country. We got all kinds of walks, religion, got them all. But we're trying to play for the good of each other and play as a group. And to bring all these people from different backgrounds and teaching everyone how to work together for the common goal of winning football games and also being successful within the community and on the classroom. And to get the world would be a better place if it was like a football locker room. And the more we can get that football locker room tight, the better our program's going to be. And I think, to me, that's my sell more than, hey, look, we played in this game. And we got a little blurb on the what. That's that doesn't, I don't think that's much for its worth.
Nathan, your follow-up?
Yes,
And that probably wasn't the answer you wanted.
Well, that's when you still want TU fans to root for Ohio State, right?
That was true.
You talked about kind of recruiting different body types than maybe SEC or Big Ten. Do you have to kind of, with the guys you can recruit and get, do you change your game plan, your offensive game plan or anything, I guess, to fit the kind of recruit you have, right?
Yeah, the game's still blocking and tackling, and so you're going to have to teach those fundamentals. We cosmetically window dress with different alignments and tempos or formations or RPOs or 8-man drops and cover it. Well, there's all these little fancy little things, but it's still a game of people that line up and block and tackle, and you have to teach that. My thing with development is you just got to develop you got to find that 2 or 3 star level guy on paper, but he can develop to be the 4 or 5 star. Like, if you look at in the NFL draft world, there'll be more 3-star guys drafted in the first round than 4 and 5 star high school recruits. The 3-star guys weren't in high school as developed, but they keep developing over time. Some guys just mature later, body types change. There's some guys tap out, some guys are tapped out, some guys are futures, and there's an art in evaluating recruit to gauge that, and you don't want to miss on that lot, but you're gauging on a developmental piece. And the part of it's getting to know the young man, his family, because you can tell some kids want to develop and want to work and maybe some don't. So there's also an art of not only the body and the potential size or strength level that you think you could see that person getting to, but it's also judging in this day and age, like I said, working hard is a talent. And what kids kind of have that skill? And you can't put a stopwatch on that one. You can't put a height and weight on that one. But how do you get a gauge of that skill? Because that's a huge skill and a big backbone of what we're going to need to be successful for sure.
Dan Hawk from News on 6 and back here, Coach, from News on 6 and the Blitz 1170. As far as your staff, when it gets assembled, I know we're still a little ways away from it, but do you look at yourself as having an offensive coordinator, or do you see yourself calling the plays himself?
Well, again, we asked that as we went through the interview process. When I left Oklahoma, I saw Bob Stoops, the highest paid corners coach in the country, coaching corners every day. That's what he did. And I said, we got 5 on offense, and they got 5 on defense. I used to love when Bob would walk over on practice, but hey, how's it going? And he'd watch over there the whole time. He wouldn't look at us one time. He was watching. He was a defensive guy. And I saw 5 guys on defense. So when I went to Indiana, I was one of the 5 guys on offense. I coached quarterbacks. I called the plays. I was the offense coordinator. I was the head coach. We had 5 on defense because I saw 5 guys, and I thought that was awesome. Now we've added a 10th coach since my experience of doing that. So you can now have 5 on offense, 5 on defense, plus me. And I think that would give me a chance to be a little bit more on both fields, to be a little bit more of a culture setter, team builder, more than just offense. I would, an offensive-oriented guy, make sure that the offense was the way I thought it needed to go and be a part of it. Would I call plays? I think it would be in my trust and confidence with if we had an offensive coordinator that person was the play caller. So I'm not going to trick someone coming here to call plays. I'm going to, I think it'd be nice to manage the game maybe a little bit more, but I think I've called plays 30 years. I mean, I can, Coach Day kind of calls it now, and we kind of help out with it, but I've done it well, done it a while, kind of done it pretty good, so I think we can do it, but I don't know if that's best. I think we'll put it together. We'll probably go through spring ball. True story, my first spring at Miami, Ohio, my mentor, Randy Walker, we're going for a walk, jog, which I'd say jog, but quite honestly, I was young enough, I was still jogging then, I'd say. And he said, we're going back there, he said, and we're getting ready for a Saturday practice, Friday. He said, boy, I got a problem coming up. I said, no, you got an, and I said, no, you have an opportunity. He goes, you're right, I got an opportunity. When I was a young coach, I tried to call the game from the sideline. And Coach Walker had put in, we only had 8 coaches at that time in Miami because we're under budgeted. He was our offensive coach. He put in the offense, and I was coaching with him on the offensive side. And he said, he goes, I couldn't call the plays as an assistant from the sideline as a young coach. I had to go to the press box. So now that I'm the head guy, I got to work with the defense a little bit and kicking game and manage everything. He said, I know I can't call it. He said, so tomorrow in the first scrimmage, you're calling the plays. If you screw it up, I'll go to somebody else. It's okay. And I guess I got lucky enough I didn't screw it up. And so I had a chance to call plays for him for 12 years. And from that, I've been on the sideline calling him. I called him in Indiana. I've been in the box. But I'd like to just see how the staff comes together. We will have 5 on offense. We will have 5 on defense. And either one of the lower offense or defensive positions, ideally, will probably be a special teams coach to kind of manage and oversee that. But we'll see how that goes. One is we just eval these coaches and start making some phone calls to see, the interest level of other people that want to join. But like I said, these first 3 days, it's with the players and these guys over here in the Case Hall over here.
Hey, Kevin. Gary Niemiec of the Tulsa World. Good to see you again.
Good seeing you.
Rick referenced Braylon Braxton when he was talking to us, and knowing what you've done with quarterbacks, specifically at Oklahoma, but of course elsewhere. What do you know about Braylon? How much have you talked to him, communicated with him, and how certain are you that he's your guy at the most important position on the field?
Yeah, well, I haven't studied a lot of film yet, glanced a little. Looks like he can run it around. I know we have another quarterback. Got a handful. Was just meeting earlier. Was the coaches going through? Tell me about your room, your guys, your ages. What do you think of this guy? Let me see your opinion. And we're going to try to find a couple ways to, as final exams go, just to see those guys individually or collectively. Talked to Brandon last night. I got one of the guys said he needed to go home to see his father, and so I got on and I said, hey man, just take your time and give your father a hug and be with your mom, and just calm down. I mean, just this will be okay. Not just, just be there with them. And I think he was maybe heading back up to Dare tomorrow with finals coming, but just want to assure him to be there for his family, that we would have time to where we weren't in a rush, but we wanted to get to know him. I don't believe you can be careful. I believe the Bible says, he is blessed more as expected. And that being said, if your best players, you expect the most, but I would be careful to make any promises to anyone like, you're going to have the opportunity. And it looks like we have several guys that have the opportunity in several positions to be really, really good. But I think that's why so many kids are in the portal that coaches say things they can't follow through with. I think our background shows we can do that position okay. And we often shows it's going to be fun, and you're going to be on it. It looks like we got some playmakers around them. It looks like I think we got some young offensive linemen. I think we can block and give those guys a chance. And excited just listening to some of the coaches talk about the guys and seeing some of our guys. But I'm excited he wants to be here. But at the same time, I think now he's got to earn our trust. He's got to earn his team's trust. And it sounds like he's the guy that can. But also too, it'd be nice to you want to see it. And just make sure that, that as it grows. So I hate to say too much because you guys will tweet it all out and it's already out. And now all of a sudden it's negativity and you guys only get half the tweet and then like it and smile it and emoji it and all that deal, right? I'm excited. I'd be excited if all those kids said they want to come back. I wasn't coming saying, I got new guys. Y'all need to go. I wanted to see if we could work with those guys because I think for us to be successful, it's development. And the best way to develop is guys are here, and we're going to work through this holiday period a little bit on their own when they're gone, and we're going to come back about January 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, where that magic day is, and we're going to start a great off-season program in the spring ball in the summer, and then we're going to see what season one looks like. And we want to get guys developing. And I want guys that want to be here for the right reasons. But I just am leery. I've gotten burned or seen coaches get burned too many times. We start making promises or guarantees because I found in life there are no guarantees. But I'm excited. I'm really just looking forward to meeting him because I haven't. He's the one guy with his family, so I'm excited to see him. Excited the work that Rick and everyone's put in to show him that people here love and care about him, want him here. But I want the whole team to feel that way too. And I also want a quarterback and offensive linemen and defensive linemen and backers that want to compete, that aren't afraid what's coming in. A long time ago, I had a player say, well, if I go to this school, they're not going to recruit another guy for 2 years at my position. I said, if you come here, I'm going to try to get somebody to beat you out next year because competition is what this game's about. Don't be afraid of competition. And at the same time, too, I'm not bringing players here. I'm working my darndest to have these kids that were committed to this school and the unfortunate thing that went through a coaching change, give these kids a chance to stay here and get a degree from the University of Tulsa and give us a chance next year to have the best first year we can have. And that's my total focus and commitment is on that, and that's where we go. But I'm also excited he said he wanted to be here. He looks good. So hope them other guys are too, though.
Any other questions?
Good? Yes, sir.
RJ?
Coach,
Yes, sir.
RJ Young, Fox Sports. I want to know, what's your process for keeping the kids not just here, but in school? Because when I talk to kiddos, going to Tulsa, it's a full-time challenge. It's really difficult to get through here academically. And I wonder if you've given any thought to that.
Well, I mean, one and great question, RJ. I need to get to know, again, more about the school and the environment. But at the same time, when I met a couple guys today, I said that we wanted to make sure they were doing well. My question would be, can you look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I know that's the best I can do? I've been around a program and some programs recently where I'm at, but some other places that our whole deal was just based on working and fighting as hard as every day you could to be the best version of you. And the best version of you fails. You're going to come up short sometimes. But if you're going to be successful, as you are and everyone here in your professions, it's hard work. It's not fair. You got to learn how to push and challenge and fight. And hopefully we'll have enough with academic support. Hopefully we have the academic tracks. Hopefully we'll keep recruiting guys that fit and buy that piece. But like I told those guys today, you've given your body and your soul and your mind to the school playing the sport. And the commitment and sacrifice you make, get your education and put a Tulsa degree with your name the rest of your life. Make sure the school gives you your degree. Bust your tail to get your degree. And if you walk out of here playing, RJ, with our sport within this program, and you walk out of here with that degree, you got a chance now to go be successful in life. Now, someone's going to train you how to do that job. And there's going to be pitfalls, and it's not going to be fair, and it's going to be hard. And, hey, welcome to the real world. You know, Tulsa's a little bit like the real world if you want to be successful. It ain't easy. So buckle up and get used to it, and that's my challenge. I think that translates into a football team, and I appreciate that our school's hard, but you hope those men are embracing the challenges we're going to put on them to have the team we want to have. That's going to be hard too. And you want people that want to embrace finding a way to be the best version of themselves every day, and we're looking forward to it.
Coach Wilson. Chris Lincoln, Oklahoma Sports Team. Good to see you again,
Good
Coach,
seeing you.
in a few years. Give the Tulsa fans an idea. What does a Kevin Wilson football team going to look like on the field, offensively, defensively?
Yeah, again, I want to start with, I've found here in recent times, and I had a lot of success, but having worked for Coach Stoops, still an offensive guy, I don't know if we did as good a job early in Indiana. I think the key to being a great program is you got to figure out and make sure you're playing good defense. There's a style and in our program goals that we're going to do that. And one of those ways is we're going to minimize turnovers and negative plays, sacks. Because if you have negatives and you're playing uphill, you're going to be behind chains, you're going to be on short fields, and your defense is going to get exposed, and you're going to give up points, you're going to lose games. So program one, our goal one is that we're going to play as strong and as good a defense as we can play. Now, that means the offense and kicking game, Chris, is complementing that. Offensively, we have always historically kind of, done pretty well scoring points, but we've kind of done it where the key of the game starts with blocking. And even though you can spread it out or go fast or not, tight ends or not, running quarterback or not, you still got to block. So I think hopefully they'll see a team that on defense and offense is physical. The game hasn't changed. It's blocking and tackling, and the teams that block and tackle the best win. So I hope when they see our team, they're seeing a team that's playing good defense, not giving up cheap plays. That means the offense is complementing the defense. They're seeing a team on both sides of the ball that are physical. They're seeing a team that's playing wide open offense, but it's not all air raid and passing. You're going to see a team where I've had a lot of really good running backs through time. I think I've had 2,000-yard backs 3 times. I think I've one of the few guys that have 2 running backs, or not I've been a part of teams where guys have had 2,000-yard seasons rushing and a quarterback throw for 3,500 and 40, 50 touchdowns. I mean, the ability to do both. When you're a great offensive team, like a basketball player, you can play with the left hand and the right hand. It's not 50-50. It's not equal. So you're going to see an exciting brand of offense. I think it's been proven. But I think you'll see a team that's playing defense, a team that's not turning the ball over. When it gets in the score, we're going to slide it up. And hopefully you're going to see, most critically, a team that's playing with some discipline. So that kicking game and those negative plays give us a chance to win those close games. Because I think in our league, we're going to match up with a lot of folks and be in some games that are close. And really what you learn early is you start teaching your team how to win a game, or not how to lose the game more than win a game. Let's make sure we take those things out that get you losing games and minimize the negatives, the turnovers, and all that. But it's going to be a boatload of fun, and I'm going to do everything I can. I know the offense is going to be really good. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that defense is playing right with them toe-to-toe.
You saw the schedule that the Sooners come here September 16th.
Yeah, we got to Husky Stadium first, though. Now, Coach DeBoer's got a good team, and I saw Mike Penix is coming back. I'm aware of his background, great player. And my wife can tell you, she said our first game here in 2002, I think it was a Thursday or Friday nighter. Might have been, I don't know, Thursday or Friday night. Remember, my wife was over there. She was nervous sitting on those steps coming up the back end to the business side. So our first game, I think it was 3-0 TU at half. And then I think we got 33 or 36 in the second half. But no, it's my favorite. I had a chance to play against Tulsa several times. So, again, excited to be back here. And I'm excited to see what we can put together. And hopefully it's going to be a physical, fun, aggressive team that's playing smart, clean. There's certain things that football, we window dress and change things, but the game hasn't changed. Blocking, tackling, take care of the ball, take care of the quarterback. No, don't give up the big plays. We're going to do our damnedest to be that kind of team.
Any other questions from me?
Honor, pleasure to be here. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Just a reminder for the fans and the supporters that are here, Coach Wilson will be at the game tomorrow night against Detroit Mercy for men's basketball, and he'll be greeting fans at 5:45 at the Reynolds Center. So we will see you there. Rain Kane.